So, as part of my last project, I was working with a pure JavaScript Node.js app that was for a real estate CRM kind of a tool. Okay, so this is a multi-tenant application. So there, a typical real estate, like there will be jobs. People will go to perform some jobs, and for each job, they will be allocating some numbers. Okay, so the system that we had has different job types and a job number. Job type is configurable by the end customer. For example, tenant A may select automation and maintenance. Tenant B may select something else, service or quote or something like that. And job number is something that the app generates. It's a kind of a sequential number for every tenant, 1000, 1001, so on and so forth. This is the initial cut that we come up with. But what customer want was completely different as we do with any other project. What customer really wanted was, yeah, they are fine with the job number, but they want some sort of a configuration based on the job type. For example, here, this is one of the customer's requirement. If the job type is automation, they want the prefix of A. And here I'm just showing you. So the automation, and I'm saying compute. So they need a prefix of A followed by the 4-digit number. And if the service job type is quoted, they completely want a different thing. Basically, they want the YY of the current years followed by the job number. So this is the tenant's requirement. And each tenant has their own way of calculating this job number. But if you look at for this job number, there are two input. One is the job type, and this job type the application does not control. It is the tenant's information. The tenant can have n number of job type, and it can be anything. But based on the job type, we need to do something. So that's the problem statement. Just I would like to quote a point here, like just think of how do you solve this problem with plain JavaScript. Yes, one approach would be create a JavaScript file with all this logic baked in. For every tenant, have this custom JS. It's kind of, you have an application logic, but that is getting binded at the runtime. And with custom JS, we all know like what are all the other things. Like custom JS is a kind of full programmatic access to all the things. What if I did something wrong? What if there is any malicious JS script that I have keyed in? It will blow away. So here, if you look at this problem, what actually we want is a kind of a programmatic configuration. And that particular configuration is going to take values based on some runtime variables. Here in this case, it's going to be two variables, job type and job number. And what we want? Some sort of a program. And in JavaScript, there is a library called NISP. This is what I have used here. Basically, a NISP is a kind of a minimal Lisp implementation in JavaScript. Okay. So for people who is not familiar with Lisp and just has a quick tour of Lisp. Basically, it starts with the parenthesis, function, and n number of arguments. Argument 1, argument 2, whatever. The beauty of Lisp is it is composable. I can create another function and I can use, and it will go like this. And what you are seeing here is the syntax of Lisp. Nothing else. The rest of the thing is completely up to us. How do we interpret this particular structure and make sense out of it? Okay. Here, what you are seeing right now is a case expression. Okay. The syntax is copied pasted from Clojure, but it is not Clojure here. It's a Lisp implementation that we come up with for the scenario that we have, the problem that we wanted to solve. What I'm doing here is I have a case expression. The first argument is I'm getting the job type. Again, is the dollar is a kind of a runtime. Again, it's my own interpretation. Dollar sign here is go, and again inspired by jQuery. I just want to fetch the job type. So this particular function just fetches the job type from the runtime. Then the second parameter here is the value that I need to match. Simple switch case. If this matched, perform this operation. If this match, perform this operation. And if you look at here, I implemented something called string, basically string concatenation. I'm using take a character A, append that with the runtime job number. Take M, append that for maintenance. If you look at, I have done all the programmatic stuff here. And if you closely watch Steve's talk, he mentioned about something. Code is data, data is code. This particular representation, right, is nothing but a JavaScript array. Where is it? Okay, I don't have that serialized version here, but I will come back to that little later. So, and whatever language that I have built over there, right? It is the implementation of that language. That entire language. I'm just created a sandbox. Here I'm saying, if it is a dollar, get the value from environment, return it. If it is now, it's a function, I'm just using the JavaScript date function. For format date, I'm just using the moment.js library. If we see all these things, we created our own new DSLs. And that DSL, using the DSL, now what we did was, for every tenant, we have this custom expression. And we serialize as a JavaScript array, save that for every tenant. Problem solved. And if you want to see how it is really configurable, I'm just on the runtime, I'm just saying, let's say the tenant now changed their mind. Instead of double digit YY, they want 4Y. All I need to do is come here, change the expression. If I do a compute here for quoted, it will give me 2020 followed by 1000. All I do is I just serialize this as a data, save it in my database against this particular tenant. When this particular logic we wanted to generate, we just read the data, click the thing and do the logic. If you come back to the implementation, I just quickly show you how I implemented that case expression. That's all you need. Hardly 4 or 5 lines of exact logic. The rest of the things are just assignments. Just think of you are implementing your own DSL and asking an interpretation for the DSL. Every DSL you write, you need to come up with an interpretation. By taking the domain specific language. So what we come up here is nothing but a domain specific language which solves the problem that we have right now. Yep. So yeah, that's what it's a sandbox that I built it here. So here, if I for num, now what I'm doing is I'm defining a no argument function. When it gets executed, I'm using the JavaScript hooks. This NISP library will enable to do us.
Okay, so NISP is your parser.
Yeah, the NISP is the Lisp parser. For this Lisp parser, what we need to give is 2 things. The expression, actually 3 things, sorry. The expression, basically what we are seeing here. The sandbox, basically the context here. Here in my sandbox right now, we have only $, now, str and format date, and as well as case. And all these constructs, I'm able to use it here.
see a problem with your dollar. Because using dollar, I can grant any value, right?
Yeah, here that the interpretation here this custom DSL dollar means fetch something from the runtime.
I get it. If you go back to dollar, you're not restricting whether it's going to see only job type or job name.
Yeah, it's
Just you are injecting only those two values.
here the dollar means get something from environment, and this particular language is not closely associated with the job thing. Here, what I come up with is a generic reusable functionalities,
Got it.
and I'm just what I created is a mini language and its implementation in a matter of hardly 10-15 lines of code. So just this much power that you are getting out of Lisp. You can come up with some strong configuration, and you can write your own interpretation for that configuration. Pull it together, you can work. And this is a JavaScript project, by the way. It's a thought process of how we solve this problem. And this NISP, it's available in Golang, it's available in other languages as well. Like basically, wherever you need some sort of a programmatic configurability, you can go with Lisp, so that will provide you a much better DSL. And if you like it, the closure is exactly built around this principle. So,
And what about like the tenant also needs to know what they have to use.
okay, this is at the implementation side layer. Like when we are actually, there will be an implementation team. It's a very good question, by the way. So there will be an implementation team. When we implement this project, they will go and ask, hey, what are your typical.
So the implementation team will have the knowledge of this.
Yes, exactly. So when let's say something like here, I'm just quickly randomly throwing out something like right now this particular DSL only support dollar, case, str, or format date. Let's say that the client is coming up with something totally different, say some random number. So all I need to do is something like if the job type is say foo, I want some random number. This is the new tenants logic. In this case, this random is not part of the sandbox yet. So what I do, they will come back to the developer, say, I want this DSL to include some random number generator. So all I'm going to do right now is, throw some 42. Some random number generation logic is going to come over here. Now this
What is that 40?
some random number I just gave.
Math dot random.
Yeah, you can also that's right. So I can just put math dot. So
It's a nice number.
yeah. Okay, so
One more question. Actually, if you go back to your case statement, I understand the rest. I don't understand the case logic.
so case logic. Okay, I don't want to get into the details, but the basic.
So it's very interesting. That's why I got
So basically, the case is what is the expression and match 1, value 1, match 2.
Match on an expression. Right?
Yeah, sorry. So everything is an expression, by the way. Maybe you can say value expression. So what it do? It executes this expression, tries to matches with this. If it matches, it executes this return and short circuit. Simple switch case implementation in Lisp.
Okay, and sorry to take now. So if suppose the implementation does something wrong and kind of puts something that has not been defined in the sandbox code, for example,
Right now, the current implementation will throw this particular function is not implemented yet. That's it.
not breakdown.
Yes. So basically, what we are giving right now is kind of a control. Okay. Think of you are building your own product and you have some logic. But when it comes to actual implementation to the customer, each customer, especially if it is a multi-tenant thing, everyone will want different things about their particular way of doing things. And when you want to customize so specific, we cannot build that into the core product, by the way.
Yeah,
Because core product's problem is something different. But this kind of customization may not go to the actual product by itself. Maybe we can have some premium customer, someone who wants this functionality, but you don't want this particular functionality to go to the core product. So this kind of extensibility again, I'm not saying this is the way to solve the problem. This is one of the way to solve this problem. And the reason being this, right? Like this particular problem, right? They are mulling over for almost 2 weeks. The client that I'm talking about, they were talking about this particular problem and they're not able to solve this because they know about this JavaScript and they were beating around the bush and they're not able to solve it. Just because I know Lisp, when they actually talk to this problem, the light bulb come to my mind. Hey, this can be easily solved in Lisp. I just searched Lisp parser in JavaScript. I come to know about there's a library called Lisp. In a matter of 2 hours, I implemented this and I showcased them.
Fantastic.
Exactly.
Even I also do Node.js. What I initially thought of the problem is have it as an array, then compare it as an array, and then fetch it.
Exactly.
Especially for doing a SaaS product, you have to write. Let users write their own code and implement it. This is really fantastic.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, if you are having some Excel, some power users as your customer, you can educate them Lisp as well. There is a good library called Ryman.
Just to add to the point,
Mhm.
Google has this kind of implementation, but I'm not very confident on that.
Okay, there is a monitoring tool called Riemann. Again, it is built using Clojure. It's a monitoring tool where you can write the configuration in Lisp. So it is just taking that principle and going it. So that's the power of Lisp. Okay, I'm just
Here, what I also want to communicate.
okay, good. Sorry, I'm just taking the detour, but I thought like it was a value added. So I just whatever he told from the theoretical perspective, from what he has built, what I showcase right now is the exact use case I just solved in my previous project. And by the way, I haven't used Clojure or any Lisp. I just used plain JavaScript. So, but it's a thought process. How we solve that problem is the most important thing, not the actual thing. And Lisp enables that thought process. Okay.